Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 3 of season 1 of the Three Archers podcast, where it is always Sagittarius season and the topics are everything that you've been wanting, right?
Mm, Yep.
We keep it real, we keep it 100. Okay.
Okay.
Our archers are here and we're ready. And today's topic is love languages and non-sexual intimacy. So so what's really the things that get to you? How do you really express love? How do you receive love best? And how do you give love best? So Letitia, um, because you are actively operating, working as a life coach, you have many clients. What do you feel is your love language, and what's the most common love language that you encounter?
Well, my love languages are physical touch and quality time. Um, those are two important things for me, and more so physical touch, actually. Like, physical touch is like, I can't do without that. Quality time, we can waver. Physical touch isn't one. Um, and I noticed that people need words of affirmation. Um, as I deal with, life coaching and also relationship coaching, people need affirmation. They need you to tell them, I love you, I miss you, I appreciate you. They need to hear these things, which makes sense. Because I think that when we are in a love space, we start to second guess and become paranoid. Am I doing enough? Is this working for that person? So it's good to communicate.
Right. So, God sister, Stephanie, what do you fall in the same categories, or are you kind of a little bit different?
Um, yeah, I'm a little bit different. My love language, if I'm not mistaken, it is acts of service. Um, you can really get to me by doing some things that you know that I'm overwhelmed with. Um, just little small things. Like for instance, yesterday I went down to fold the laundry. The laundry was already folded. I was like, wow, this man really loved me. That's how I was feeling. Like I don't words of affirmation. I'm not really big on that because I've been in so many situations where people have said things and not meant them. So I'm more with show me. Like I said, if you really love me, then you know what makes me tick. You know the things that I need to get done, and taking a few things off my plate that makes me feel good.
So, for anybody listening, anybody tuning in who is not familiar with love languages, the love languages that are kind of accepted across the board, one being acts of service, meaning you can do things for me, you can, um, just show me in little ways. There's also receiving gifts, so actual expressions in a tangible way.
Mm-hmm.
There is physical touch, and physical touch does not always mean a sexual encounter. It just means that, you know, did you hold my hand? You know, did we connect on a physical level? And then there is also, okay, so that was three. I got to keep it
Mm-hmm.
straight in my mind. Um, Words of affirmation. Yes.
Right.
So are you speaking life to me? Are you communicating with me in a way that lets me know that you're here for me? Um, oh my gosh, my brain is all over the place right now. What's
Oh,
number
we have,
five, guys?
we have words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, acts of service,
And quality time.
Quality
quality.
time. You know why I can't remember that one? Because that's not me at all. Like I don't, some people in their relationships they suffer from that need or belief that they should just be joined at the hip. or, you know, I need to be with you all the time, that is most definitely not my love language.
And
Um,
even, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Because even though quality time is I don't want you to be attached to me. I just want the time that we spend to be good time spent. And for
Mm.
me, even the good time spent, like some of my best memories of quality time involve us not talking at all.
Isn't
I
that
like to connect with people. Like you have hit a home run if we are in the same room and I feel connected to you and there's nothing said. That means I found peace with you.
mm. So the P word, peace, right?
Yep.
So important. And so you bring up a good point, sister. It's a different perspective on the literal translation, you know, of quality time, of what we consider to be quality time, but that's so true. Like just vibing.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I imagine that in my brain because it's a movie and a soundtrack in my brain all the time, in case no one knew. Um,
Okay.
all the time. So in my mind, that translated to we're at a silent listening party. Like you have your headphones, I have my headphones. We are
Mm-hmm.
both vibing, like the energy is flowing, and neither one of us can hear anything.
Well,
Neither one of us necessarily doing anything um,
right.
to physically connect with that person. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I may have to revisit.
Right.
I had to
Because I was like,
revisit
wait a minute,
what I
ladies. I
consider
don't
my
want to
love
be,
languages.
yeah, I don't want to be joined to anybody's tip. I don't like anyone that much. But time spent,
Yeah.
time spent is good because I value my space as I know you ladies do as well. Especially us being mothers, like, look, I'm gonna need some downtime,
Yeah.
but I need the quality time to be good time spent.
Mm.
So,
Point
So
taken.
if you had to substitute for the love language that you actually have, so we know ourselves pretty well. If you had to substitute a love language that you don't consider to be your current love language, which one would you choose? So like this is a conscious choice, not necessarily what's built into you. Stephanie, what you thinking? You got this thought.
I think it would be gifts. I would like to be materialistic.
Okay.
I think I would like to know how that feels
Mhm.
mhm.
because, because I'm not. So yeah, I think I would like to give that one a shot. Yeah.
Okay. Sister, what you riding with?
That's. I think I would have to agree with Stephanie. Gifts, because I'm not generally moved by gifts. Like it's real simplistic for me. And
Mhm.
I think that's like one of the downfalls in dating me because I'm not that person. And acts of service is nice, but it's not something I require. I really like people to stay out of my way. I think that it's a struggle in people who don't who aren't conscious of physical touch and quality time. I think it's hard for them to connect with me because gifts are like, well, it was a nice notion, but you know. So I think, yeah.
But what about you, Anika?
So initially I was going to say gifts, but I wasn't necessarily thinking grand gestures. Like I don't need, trips, and I don't even like to travel.
But I,
Big gestures.
hold on, I like trips though. So do they count?
They're a gift if they
That
yeah.
they can translate to gifts and quality time,
Yes,
Stephanie.
because I love a trip.
I know. I know you do.
Loves me a trip.
Okay. So I mean still vibes with what you said, but I think if I had to choose one that I don't currently consider a part of my makeup or my core, I would say physical intimacy. Like I don't want you touching me. I don't. And okay, let me qualify that because that sounds really really harsh when I say it, right? So I don't have any issue with intimacy with my partner. as far as, you know, what we consider to be sexual intimacy. That's not an issue. It's not like, you know, I don't like it. Like, we're adults. Like, okay.
Right.
But I distinctly remember my ex, he was just so affectionate. Like, he just always wanted to hold hands or cuddle. And I'm just like, why are you touching me? Like, why can't we just sit here? Why do you have to make a physical connection? Because, you know, that was this particular ex I'm talking about. I was young. You know, I was young. I was 17, 18 years old. I didn't like, listen, what's all that? Not understanding that for him, physical touch is his love. Like, he needed to express himself that way. And I wasn't necessarily as tolerant as I could have been of that. And so I wish that I was more tolerant of people touching me unnecessarily. But at the same time, it comes from a place of protecting my energy. And touch is an energy transference. And so I don't encourage people to touch me. Which sometimes comes as a surprise for people that know me, right? Because like people I really love and I see a lot, I hug, you know, especially you know, Letitia, we attend the same church. I hug.
Right.
Yeah, but it took me a while to get there. Like that wasn't an immediate circumstance. I tell people there are people I've known my whole life that I don't have a reason to touch. Like we're cool, but why are we touching? So yeah, if I could pick one to be a little bit more accepting of, I think it would be that. There's hope, right?
Yeah,
There's hope.
always until it isn't.
So I was talking about the love languages of my then partner, right? What love language do you think you just wouldn't be able to fulfill for your partner?
Words of affirmation is a struggle for me. And this is going to sound so mean when I say it. As adults, it bothers me when I'm dealing with another adult that needs me to constantly give them positive affirmations. For children, I don't mind because we're building them up. And as a life coach, you would think that I wouldn't have issues with this, but I'm like, why? And I struggle in that area because I feel that I'm one of those people that constantly display I love you for my friends and my family. The things that I do, I am constantly mindful of, you know, showing my appreciation of people. But whereas affirmation is a huge issue for me, I could do better.
Okay.
Go ahead, spit it out, God, sister. I know you know.
Right.
This,
The face said everything. Right. I am waiting,
like,
man.
I see it.
Because I totally understand what you're saying, but I can. It's okay. Like I can do it. I feel you because I do feel like that to a certain extent because I've had to learn that just because I don't need something,
Right.
somebody else doesn't need something. So just because I don't care to hear a whole bunch of what I consider to be fluff or, you know, like high praise stuff does not mean that the other person doesn't. And I have learned to express that because it's not, you know, if I'm with you, evidently I feel I feel positive things about you. I've learned to actually voice them. In the past, I was more about writing them because, you know, I am a writer, so I'm more expressive in that way. But yeah, so it's not that. It's definitely not gift giving because I'm a big gift giver. Like, yeah, when it comes to the gifts, I love it. I love buying gifts. I love giving surprises. I like all of that stuff. So it wouldn't be that. I think it might be touch. I think it might be physical touch. I am not overly affectionate. I'm not like showing like physical affection is kind of, it's a little squeamish. Yeah, I get a little squeamish sometimes. It all depends how I'm feeling. But I think out of all those things, I think that may be the hardest for me to do. However, I don't think anything would be impossible for me to do, because if I'm with someone, if they need something, I'm going to make the adjustment, because I'm a pleaser. So I want to please the person that I'm with. So yeah, but I think the hardest for me to do is like the physical touch part. Yeah.
Right. So that's a good point. I'm also a pleaser. So
Mm,
that adjustment to what they need is something that, like I said, when I was younger, I didn't really understand it because I never really, I'm be honest, I didn't really consider what other people needed in a non-physical sense. Like I can understand if you need food. Like I can see and understand hunger. I can see and understand physical needs. Like you needed that. I saw it probably even before you said something, but those little nuances, those emotional things, I just didn't always get a good read on. Um, thank God for growth. Oh, grown up.
yep.
Um, so thank God for that, and continue growth, right?
Yeah.
Because even as we meet these things, I think we can do better. Because we're talking about it. So far we've been talking about it as in relation to your partner, your spouse, your mate, whoever. But this translates to everyone. This translates to your family, to your children. My children have very different love languages than I do, and so adjusting to that as a mother, and trying to meet their needs, which are very different from mine, and being mindful of that. So,
Good
yeah.
point.
Talking to you ladies has given me a different perspective on my love languages, because I just assumed that they were self-explanatory. But just like with the quality time, I just had to explain, I don't want you up under me. I just need the time to be good time. And as far as physical touch, I don't like PDAs at all.
Is it
Mm,
is it just in public or in private?
So when I say physical touch, like we sitting on the couch, you may rub my leg, you walk up behind me and touch the small of my back. There's not, I don't need a consistent, because I don't like hand holding. Like hand holding drives me crazy.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, ugh. Like it drives me crazy. So like now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I need to explain these love languages to people when they encounter me, because I say physical touch, and I do like physical touch, especially when we sleeping. I don't
fun.
necessarily have to cuddle, but to feel you every so often gives
Mm,
me comfort. But do not touch me all day. We gonna have problems. Don't do that.
Big
So
facts.
that, wow.
Big facts. I don't like it.
This is why we have conversations.
I get that. I get what you're saying. It's like you like certain things, but it's like not overkill. Well, I mean, I guess that
Yeah.
goes with I guess that goes with anything, right? You
Mm-hmm.
something, but anything in excess is like,
Exactly.
come on now. Like, just stop it. Just stop it now.
So
Like,
it's
listen.
kind of like when we talked about ultra independence. Like you can swing too far in either direction. There's always,
Right.
you got to find that sweet spot where you belong, or where it's like, reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess none of us swing to the extreme end of these spectrums, because I'm like, PDAs is too much for me. Too much.
I like a nice hand holding.
My ex-husband used to hold my hand crossing the street, and I'd be like, what? Like the first 2 years of marriage, I'd be like, stop. But I understand, like that's his thing. He never allowed me to cross the street. Like I'm grown. But that was his thing. That was the thing. So eventually I conceded, but we not.
I love hand. I like. Look. Yes, hold my hand. Come on. Hold this. Hold
I love you, Stephanie.
delicate little hand, please. And
So
while we're
like,
sleeping, I need the spoon too.
I do. I
I
enjoy a good spooning.
I'm not
Yes.
up here and get all into why I love spooning.
Yes, that's a whole nother show, man.
That's a different
That's a show.
show.
Yes, that's a different show. But I love spooning as well. I agree.
I am not. So I'm going to circle back around to the hand holding, but with the spooning thing, I am not a cold sleeper. I do not care. I could be madly in love, and when we are sleeping, I instinctively go to the edge of the bed. I'm literally sleeping on the edge. That's where I'm comfortable. I don't want you to touch me, unless it serves a purpose. What do you? I don't like it. Now, here again, if that's something that my partner needs, I can adjust. I will be very unhappy about it, but not enough to make me, leave the relationship, or we had to sleep separately. But
You don't like to feel that bulge on your lovely lady lumps?
no, not at all. And I'm also I think possibly, because I'm also a very still sleeper. So I sleep on the same side. I do not move throughout the night. Um, I'm very still. I'm very quiet. So it could be because of that. Because now there's another. They're moving, and no, stop. And so it was funny because when I was pregnant, I had to sleep. I don't know what was going on in the womb, but I couldn't sleep if I didn't sleep next to her father. I had to sleep next to her father. It was so irritating because I didn't want to. Like, I don't. Ugh. But we are separate and
She giving
apart
us
now.
all the things.
It's called hormones, darling.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, clearly it was that, because I never needed to before, and I didn't need to after. So it was clearly some type of connection that they had in utero, and that's wonderful. They still have a wonderful bond, daddy-daughter bond.
Right.
I knew who you was
It's
talking about
beautiful.
immediately.
Me too.
It's
Right.
beautiful. Well, that's because we have a lot of history among us. So yeah, of course you do. But it's beautiful. But back to this hand holding, right? So you said something in public. I don't mind the hand holding, because in public, it's not about, for me, it's not about the physical connection or love language between us. It's about my anxiety level. So the
Mhm.
fact that we have this connection, I know we're not going to get separated. And it also, this might be a little bit petty, but I'm not coming from a petty place with it. It also signals to other people that we are connected, because
Mhm.
I've been out in public with people, and everybody is not respectful of, case in point, one time I was out with my brother, right? You don't know that's my brother.
Right.
I'm just out here with a dude. And so we were out, and a female just, walked up and shot a shot. And I'm like, you don't see me standing here? Like, you disrespectful right now. I wasn't mad, and I bopped off, and maybe she felt like she was flexing or whatever, but I bopped off because that's my brother and I don't care. Like, but could you
But it,
imagine if he had a different position in my life? Like, stop that. I don't like it. So that just prevents that from even being, it should prevent that from being a thing, because some people are extra bold.
They are.
that part.
They are. Um, the guy that I'm dealing with, he always keeps his hand on the small of my back. Like, that's our negotiations of the hand holding. Which I'm fine with. I don't know what it is about that touch to the small of the back, but it makes me feel real nice. Like,
It is.
Makes you a little tingle.
yes, yes, I really like that.
I don't either.
But hand holding is, it's real touch and go with me. Like, if I'm really feeling you that day, because God knows I run hot and cold, he not done with me yet. He not done with me yet, God.
It's okay.
On a warm day, we real good, I'll tolerate a handhold. I might even enjoy it. But if I don't really want to be in your presence, don't touch me. Do not reach for my hand. I will pull a first lady on you quick.
Oh yeah, she not with the shit. She'd be like, "Sir, don't even try it."
Don't even try it.
That'd be so hilarious to me, yo. Like she is not.
She hates that man.
She is the definition of savage, and I love her for it.
And for clarity, we are referencing the current First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump, and the way that she does not allow Donald Trump Sr. to hold her hand in public. She
said that's not part of the contract.
Oh, the contract.
That's not it.
She said that's not part of the contract.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not her love language. Maybe it's just not her love language.
No,
Pretty sure she don't like him. She don't look at him with any kind of affection.
The only love language she has for her is the check.
Oh,
that's me, the check.
The check. And the boy child that they have, that's the check for her. Okay, she solidified her spot. She don't give a damn about no love language. She don't.
Yes.
So she don't like being no first lady neither. It just fell in her lap and she got to deal with it so that she can hold on to the coin.
I feel like this conversation just took a turn.
It did.
Facts.
But I mean, in real life, sometimes we can fake a love language.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, a lot of things that can be fake.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Save that for another day.
Oh, we
let's.
I feel like we're never gonna run out of topics. Like there's just always gonna be something to discuss.
Yes,
because listen. So,
right.
As far as love languages go, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talked earlier about the fact that you are an author of many works at this point in time.
Yes.
And one of them being a work of poetry you published. And so being more comfortable writing that. So how do you feel? Do you feel like you like writing that love letter more or receiving that love letter more in a written form? Which feels better?
I would say receiving. Maybe because when it comes from me, it's to be expected. If you get a card from me, if Sean gets a card from me, he knows I'm going to write something nice in it. You know what I'm saying? One of his gifts for Father's Day was a book, Hooray Heroes book with stories with him and Shy. Like that's sort of my thing. So it's like that's not kind of like it's like, okay, that's not really a shock. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody does that for me, it's kind of like, okay. Took a page out of my book, did you? And I like that. That kind of goes into that. I think that kind of ties into acts of service for me, because it's like you kind of doing something for me that I would usually be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So it's like you're take it literally, taking a page out of my book. Like,
yep.
And I like that because it shows that the person is really paying attention. That it's deeper, that they not just necessarily meet you where that they taking the time to observe you, to know what makes you tick, to to care enough to maybe go outside of their comfort zone for something that it hit different, right? It hits real different.
Absolutely.
Sister, what
and
about
then they have to be in touch with themselves in order to do that.
True.
writing like that is very disrobing. So to have a man put himself in a position that he's laying it out like that, I'm with Stephanie. That says a lot.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like I can't choose one or the other because exactly everything that you guys said about receiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me to write really makes me confront what I'm feeling. Like it really
Mm-hmm.
forces me to express my thoughts, and because I'm not really a verbal person all the time, that might sound weird because
Mm-mm.
it's a whole podcast, but y'all know me. So
Right.
I tell people all the time, I'm an observational introvert. I watch, I
Mm-mm.
observe, and I accumulate information. So am I aware? Yes. Did I say anything? Probably not. Probably not. Um,
Mm-hmm.
God's not through with me yet.
It's okay.
Right.
Not through with me yet.
Hmm.
So that, yeah, so I feel like for me, just the act of the labor of actually being honest and confronting what I feel and expressing it in a, verbally or in a written form, finding those words is really, 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 really telling. I think you will be able to find out a lot more from that, from anything that I would say to you, because I'm probably not going to say it.
Right.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like, and almost like a common theme, because we are who we are. We're in the generation that we're in. We are mature women,
Mm-hmm.
not quite seasoned yet, but mature
Right.
enough to
Yeah.
have lived some life. Um, I feel like we are way more aware of these things. Like we talk about love languages. This is a conversation in society.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
But for the generations after us, before us definitely, but after us, I'm not sure that they are really having these conversations.
Mm, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So
Hmm.
we're all mothers. Do you,
Mm-hmm.
do you
Mm-hmm.
think your children have an understanding of themselves and how they express love and how they receive love best?
I've never had the love language conversation with either one of my children. And that's crazy because I didn't talk to them about soul ties, but I haven't talked to them about love languages. So let me stick a bookmark there because that's the conversation I need to have. Like literally, literally. Ask my kids what soul ties are.
Right.
Like
But
I'm afraid because the little like Shiloh, I just know it's gonna be. Listen, I'm not ready to have the conversation with her. Okay, so that
yeah,
I
but
think 1 of 5 has an understanding of love languages.
which one?
My 14-year-old,
Okay.
he's very clear about what he needs. He's very clear about what he needs. And like that happened over a year's time. He's very definitive. My oldest son though, I think he's still trying to feel around in the dark. He's still trying to figure out girls. As he told me the other day, he said, y'all are complex in ways that I am not ready to indulge in, and
don't
backed off. I'm
don't do
like,
my nephew. Don't do my nephew like that. Don't do him like that.
listen, but he hits me at random. Like he says stuff and it'll be really profound and he'll back off. I'm like, so we're not gonna talk about it? He's like, nope, not right now. Oh,
Because
okay.
because he's an old man. And
He
if you think
is. He
about
was
it, that's how
born
men
40.
used to, yeah, that's how men used to be. Like they were men of few words, but when they said something, they said something. Like
Right.
yeah, they said something.
I tell people all the time my baby was born a 40-year-old man. Like he always been an old man.
Hey.
I keep trying to have a sex talk with him. He's like, last week was the final straw. He said, look, mom, we're not doing this anymore. I'm not talking about sex with you. This is a dad-son conversation. It's going to get weird. If I have to talk about penises and vaginas with you, I'm not doing it. Okay?
I would
And
die.
he already has like the change of voice and it's relatively deep. So I just shut up and sat here. Like, when he left, I was like, you don't mind me though.
Yikes.
I'm never going to attempt to have that conversation with him ever again, by the way. It's not happening.
Yikes.
He told me he was crystal clear.
I think he made his position known and felt. And so
he talking to his father.
Reviewed in a previous episode, I have no sons. I have 2 daughters. Stephanie, you have a very young son. Are you ready for that type of response? Are you like
you know what? No. Because that's why I'm so thankful. Even if his father and I are far apart, I know that his father will be there. I'm not even going to try it.
The crazy thing,
imagine myself talking to my boy
and your baby boy, because he the baby. That's traumatic in itself.
Exactly. The fact that he has a penis bothers me.
Stephanie, I love you.
Like, seriously, it bothers me. Like, what is this? What is this you have?
So let me just be clear. I'm not going to die every episode, right? Y'all will get together. Like, you are not going to send me out every episode. It's not going to happen.
We're not going to get it together, though.
It bothers me. I'm not playing. It bothers me.
As it should, though. As it should. I'm going to tell you why.
Being reasonable.
3 boys. She don't have to be that reasonable. I have 3 boys. My baby will be 13. We went to the doctor. The doctor wanted to talk about puberty. So she had like this brief overview. The crazy thing is I haven't had the puberty talk with my baby boy because he's goofy. He's still a baby in my mind. So they talked about the changes and she asked him which had he observed. And he's like, and I say, Ethan, is your penis growing? And he said, Mommy, there is a lady in the room. We cannot talk about this. And she was like, oh my God, he's so cute. And I'm like, I'm not ready for any of this.
You see what I'm saying? Absolutely not.
And Dad, and here's the thing. With my 16-year-old, I called Dad and I said, have you talked about sex forever? He's like, no, not really. He don't want to talk about it. I said, so how long are we going to allow him to put this conversation off? He said he told me he knows where babies come from and he doesn't want to have this discussion right now. He'll ask me for details when he needs them. I said, well, which details are we talking about? And he was like, he said he's not interested in having sex and he doesn't want to talk about it. He knows where babies come from and he knows how that works. So I keep trying to have a conversation with him, and after last week, I'm not doing this. But he did explain to me how that happens. He said clearly, either you and Daddy had unprotected sex, or y'all were actually trying. I know how this works. I was like, oh.
You see what I'm talking about?
I can't hear these words from the kid. I can't hear these words from the kid. I cannot hear these words.
I could not imagine my son. My baby son who's still suckling at the breast. I could not imagine ever talking to him that way. I would punch him in the face.
I want to, but I can't really because like it's a needed conversation.
I get
things people don't tell you about divorce. I was prepared for everything else, raising children by myself, the dynamics changing. What I wasn't prepared for is your kids trying to have a talk with you like you don't know what's going on. Yes.
So listen.
That's a whole nother episode. I can't.
We've been talking about, this as far as boys go, right? Mm-hmm. And I am woefully unprepared for anything about a male child. Like I remember a friend of mine, she had a baby boy child and she needed some help. Usually I don't deal with fresh babies. I don't want anything to do with fresh babies. Just because I'm a whole other factor in their environment that's unnecessary. I don't do fresh babies, but she needed help, right? Mm-hmm. So I went over and she went to the store and he needed some kind of medicine and she was real squeamish, about giving baby stuff like suctioning and giving them stuff. And I'm a pro at that. Like it's a baby, I can do that. Like all babies, it's the same.
Yeah.
But I had to change him.
Ooh.
It's a fresh baby. This a whole fresh baby. He just been circumcised. Everything's
Ooh.
medically because I had medical. I understand all the nuances of that, right? But I never really had to do it. So I go to change this baby. Please don't laugh at me, y'all.
I'm listening.
Some things people don't talk about. So I didn't know to expect it. His little testes were rolling around in the like they were moving. And I was concerned. I didn't know, like, are they supposed to do, like, what is happening right now? I was traumatized. I was shaking until she got back because I didn't know what was happening or what to do. People don't talk about that. Like, that's not a thing. So if you've never encountered a little boy baby, and of course now I know it's normal, like, it just happens, but
Right.
Weird.
at the time, right, I'm like, oh my God. So when you talk about this next level, like a growing son, and I can't, no. And we're talking about with boys, but we all have girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this
My,
talk with them is
my,
to me just as traumatic.
actually, with my girl, it was like a breeze because it's like I meet them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, they're what I am. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we got a common ground here. I can, I got a space where I can meet them at. So with the girls, it's just like, okay, but that little boy, girl, please. Thank God.
I'm gonna die when I have to have this talk with the little girls. I'm still not prepared
Listen,
for girls.
oh, please. Them little girls, honey. When I tell you I got them equipped and ready to go. See, that was the difference. Me and my mother, we didn't have, she came from the era, was kind of, you don't really talk, look, just don't do it. Just don't
Right.
do it. Don't matter why, don't matter what, just don't do it. I ain't got to tell you nothing. Just don't do it.
Right.
So, I decided like, okay, well, my girls, it's going to be different. I'm going to tell them not to do it, and I'm going to tell them why not to do it. And I'm going to tell them
Right.
what if they do it. And I'm going to tell them, the consequences. And I'm going to tell them the stuff that happens other than the physical stuff. And, oh, girl, I get into it, honey.
But you
Yeah.
make a good point because here again, and I literally marvel at this every day. I know I keep bringing it up, but I'm literally in awe of how we've evolved as a gender in society, right? Because you said your mother comes from the era of just don't do it. You don't need to, like, just don't, like, that's
Mm-hmm.
it. I said what I said. The same era that said, when you would ask questions, maybe not necessarily about this, but about anything, was, don't ask me about that's grown folk business, or if you wanted to know why something, because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
So I did endeavor, as a parent, I don't say because I said so to my children. If they ask me a question, I give them an explanation. And if it's something that does not warrant an explanation, maybe they're not ready for that type of content, or maybe it's just not a business, because I also, like, I'm grown. You don't question me about my business, like my business that does not affect you. No, we don't do that. So, like, if I'm out, I'm out. You don't have the right to ask me about where I'm going and what I'm doing.
That
You
part.
do have the right to ask me when I'm coming back, if I'm okay. You have the right to call and check, because my children do. If they feel like I've been gone too long, hey, you all right? They just
Mm-hmm.
check in. I'm okay with that, because
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's a different space.
Yeah,
But clocking me, no.
absolutely not.
No. But that, just having this open dialogue with, from parent to child and from child to parent, is
Mm-hmm.
so important. So just like you made note, Stephanie, that you might want to have this conversation specifically with your girls. I also like, okay, let me, even though I feel like we have some understanding, especially with my older daughter, especially through therapeutic measures, we have some
Yeah.
understanding of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to have a specific conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's really break this down and figure out where you fall, because if you understand it, then you can manage it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You're a person whose love language is, physical touch, and you don't have an understanding of that. So now every time you encounter that physical touch, in whatever way you encounter it, now it's feeding a place that you may not recognize. And that's how you get into certain situations. And not just physical
Right.
touch, right? It could be
Right.
anything. It could be gifts. It could
Right.
be acts of service. Oh my gosh, this person is such a hero, and they do so much
Mm-hmm.
for the community. And now all of a sudden, it's too much.
Uh, mm.
Yeah, because when people understand us, when people understand us and we don't understand ourselves, it opens us to manipulation.
It does.
Yep. Wow. That's good. You gotta know how to handle that stuff. Because if you don't,
Absolutely.
a certain somebody could come in and be real screwy and have you all messed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
I was watching an episode of, believe it or not, the X-Files. I was watching the X-Files.
I used to love that show.
I do. So quarantine has brought us all kinds of binge watching. So I was watching the
Yes.
X-Files, and they should bring that back. Side note. I was watching it, and this particular killer with some type of physical genetic anomaly, whatever. He was weird. Um,
Okay.
he was connecting with women so he could kill them in whatever way he needed to. But the point is, he was connecting them, and all of them were saying, "Oh, he knew everything to say. He knew just the right." You know what I mean? The one victim had shared his emails and his letters and stuff like that with her friend, and her friend was taking it like she saved his messages because they hit her a certain way, and she
Mm.
wasn't even the one sharing directly with him. So what it was is, part of what he did was just study. Like, he, of course, he just knew all the points. And so this happens in real life. Hopefully
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
not trying to kill you, but people are aware, and a lot of times they do understand you better than you understand yourself, because as a individual, a lot of times people are not self-aware. If
Right.
there's one thing that sabotages a lot of people, is not being self-aware. They see everybody else so clearly,
But not
but
themselves.
cannot see themselves. That's why I advocate these mirror checks. Who are you? And also, that's why you need a Sagittarius in your squad, because we're going to tell you who you are.
Yep. Yep.
If you didn't know, sis, yeah, that's you all day.
Mm-hmm. That ain't it. Don't do it. Stop. No. You're giving too much. All that.
Yeah, because when you're dating, one of the biggest mistakes is talking too much.
Mm.
Stop giving people the roadmap to manipulate you.
We
If you
talk.
tell them everything that you need,
Wait a minute,
they
sister.
will give
Wait
you everything
Wait
you
a minute,
need.
sister. Wait a minute. You got to say that again. Stop doing
Stop
what?
giving people the roadmap to what you need. It
Mm-hmm.
opens you to manipulation.
Yeah. Be doing the work for them.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to learn. And then mindlessly, you've told them everything that you need. So you think, oh my God, they're a good listener. They're in tune. No, they're a predator. Those are definitively different.
Hell yeah.
Listen, it's true.
Hell,
It's true.
Like,
absolutely.
it's a difference.
Mm. Now I'll sip to that.
Okay.
Shout out to my
I'm
honey
going
for
with the
giving
sip
me this big,
situation one
shout
day.
out for giving me this big fat glass of wine because he knows my love language.
Yes. So
Shout out to Luscious Libations, people.
oh,
Let me tell y'all how. Yesterday, Archer Stephanie hooked me up with the red sangria. Listen, the bottle was gone yesterday. Okay? You need you a Sagittarius in your life. Specifically Stephanie with these Luscious Libations.
Oh my.
Just saying.
It was enjoyable. You know, I thought about that. I said, I wonder, did she drink all of it?
Girl, it was
all of it.
gone.
Is this the regular bottle? Like, is this a different size that you do? I don't know.
This is 12 ounces.
You make bigger ones?
Yeah.
I need a bigger bottle. That was gone. That was delicious.
So you know, I stand for all of my Sagittarius squad. Like all my people, and not just my Sagittarius squad, like, you know, people that I connect with that have good energy, that, you know, are out here doing their thing. I always, a lot of people who know me know I keep a mental Rolodex. Like, I might have met you 5 years ago, but I remember. And when I run into somebody that needs you, your name is, you know, I pull that card out my mental Rolodex. I really do. And so I stand for all of my business buddies, all of my sisters. As we talked about before, we're all entrepreneurs, we're all business women. My God sister's better than yours. My sister's better than yours. These are real hashtags. My God is better than yours. So I say that to say I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol, but I got a bottle of the sangria in my refrigerator. I don't know how long it's going to be there, but I got it because you made it. Now, what I will say is these crab cake egg rolls was a whole situation.
No, the sauce was a whole situation. Like, I rolled my egg roll in the sauce. I know. See, my sister doesn't eat any sauce at all, y'all. So she didn't touch it. But I promise y'all, this sauce was ironclad. I rolled my egg roll, and I hate an excessive amount of sauce. But the chick with the saucy, this chick right here.
Listen.
You should have told me. I'd have sent my sauce to you instead of giving it to them girls. I'd have sent you my sauce. I don't eat sauce.
The saucy, that's the spicy mustard, the sweet and spicy mustard. Listen, you got to try it on other stuff. I've eaten it on almost everything, okay? You know, just testing to see, you know, what's what.
Yeah, I had a turkey and Gouda with the sauce on it.
No, because like I want to be a foodie in my mind. Like in my mind, I like even earlier, sister, I sent you a recipe. I was like, ooh, this look like it should be good. I'm not gonna eat it because I don't eat sauce.
Honey.
So I'm not gonna eat it, but it in my mind, like I wish I was more connected to food. Like I want to be a foodie. It look fun.
Ma'am, it is fun. It is fun. Me and food got along. We got a deep connection, girl. I love to cook it, and I love somebody to cook me some good food. I love to get some. Listen, as a person who cooks, it's nothing better than getting some good food from somebody else. It's like,
absolutely. And if I send you somewhere, you best believe it's good, because I don't eat everybody's food. Won't.
That part.
Will not.
Yeah.
Will not.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, what I can eat, I do eat. What I can eat is delicious.
It's delicious.
And I'm not above placing custom orders. I will roll up anywhere, because when I say I don't eat sauce, I don't eat sauce. I don't eat ketchup, mayonnaise, barbecue sauce, tartar sauce.
None of that.
I don't eat. Let me tell you what traumatizes people the most. You know this. I don't eat salad dressing. I eat salad. I don't eat salad dressing. It creeps. So I'm not above pulling up somewhere and be like, all right, this is what I want, but I'm gonna need you to take off this. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna eat it just like that. Like I asked for it.
Dry.
Delicious.
And y'all, she got her people so programmed that my ex-husband is still trained. He made some ribs and didn't put sauce on it recently. We're not together. It was somebody else. And he was like, I said it to the side. I just knew she was going to come. And I was like, oh, no, she not coming. So yeah, she got her people well trained. She don't do
all my people,
none of that.
all my
So
people
it's condiment thing.
this is all my people know. This been for years, like my whole life. Everybody knows. So
Yes.
if you didn't know, you don't.
Now you
know now.
Now you know. I'm telling you, if you take some saucy, that sweet and spicy mustard, baby.
You know, I just so you know, little.
It was everything on that turkey and Gouda. Everything. I was like, whew.
We be all over the place.
Right, because we all the way off topic.
So, man,
love languages. I don't. Well, the food.
Let's add love languages.
Love language.
Good food.
Good food. We should
Good
add
food. We are adding that to the love language.
And if that was really on there, that would be mine.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
so
Because oh my God, I'm a sucker for a man that can cook.
If that was one of the accepted love, like the actual list of love, that would supersede everything else.
Knock everything out of the park.
True story. Listen, when me and Sean first got together, he made me a steak and some kale. Right? I love kale. I love fresh kale. But this kale tasted like somebody's grandmother made it. It melted in your mouth. It was not mushy. It had the minced onions in it. Listen, I fell in love with him because one of the reasons was because he fed me well, something that he fixed himself. So if there were a love language, that would definitely be my number one.
Hey.
And I'm not a foodie. I'm not into food, but I do love kale and I do love a good steak. I think I might have fell in love with him had that been me. Yes, all this.
And for me, it's definitely to be cooks also. And to have somebody cook for you and you're the cook and it's good. Like, because everybody should understand the labor of love it takes to cook a good meal for somebody.
Yep.
So if he's cooking for you, if he's loving on you like that, whew.
All right, so we're not gonna tell them that. We probably gonna cut that part out because we're not giving them the roadmap.
I think we need to go out in the world because men need to learn how to cook.
Straight up. Like as I think about it, all the men in my life, like not just people I've been with, but people I saw. Like I think there's only been like 2 altogether that couldn't cook. Like all of them cook and like real good.
Good.
So we should talk about why men don't cook. Why is it that they aren't? Because even if you're not using it to care for somebody else, the expectation is that you can at least feed yourself. So why can't you cook?
Yeah, because there's nothing more sexy than a self-sufficient man.
Is there an amen? There's a hallelujah in the corner. Amen.
Listen, because I've been with men who cannot cook anything. I've been with
men
who could only cook breakfast, barely. But I've been with men who really cannot cook.
Wow.
And I was not there, they were eating takeout. I've been with men who have just had very, very, very poor eating habits. They ate like children. Pizza and cheese curls and stuff like they were at a 2-year-old's party. So for me, y'all listen, this ties into love languages for me. A man who cares about himself is a big thing for me.
Absolutely.
A man who cares about himself, a man who cares about his health, means he's not going to just eat any old thing all the time. He's going to eat a vegetable or two. He's going to drink water. He's going to eat fruit. one who knows how to physically take care of himself, can make himself food, that's a big thing for me. That, I mean, that's a big thing. That was a major turn on for me with Sean. Like when I first came over, house clean. Like I said, made me the steak and the kale. When I woke up the next morning, I had me a nice breakfast on a nice purple tray. It was beautiful. I said, damn, he can take care of himself. Knowing he been doing the stuff that I can do and I do well. He been doing this stuff for himself way before I came along. And if I was to ever leave or he was to leave me, he could still carry on the same way. A big thing. And I think for a lot out here.
We about to go somewhere. Listen, season 1 itineraries in the can. Like but season 2, listen, I just had a whole epiphany while you were talking. We're gonna end this episode, but I had a whole epiphany while you were talking. Season 2, I don't know which number episode, but we are definitely doing Who Raised You. Shout out to TK Kirkland. Who raised you? Who raised you? Why can't you do this stuff? Who raised you? So, episode 3, we're going to stop right here because, of course, these conversations could go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Because when you are coming from the Sagittarius perspective, of course, there is a wealth of knowledge. There is depth to the conversation.
Absolutely.
But we can't give you all the knowledge in one episode. You got to keep watching.
Come back.
Like, share, follow, subscribe. It will tell you when episodes drop. So, here again, always grateful to my archers for being here, my Sagittarius squad. You know I love you, sisters of my heart. Thank you to our listeners, our watchers, our viewers, subscribers. Sagittarius season is not over, guys, right? This is not over. Like we have something really intense for you next week, so please don't miss it. 3 archers signing off.
Bye.
Bye, guys.